And that's why you should never start another podcast. What is going on, everybody? This is the Cover Band Confidential Podcast, the podcast for our cover band musicians and bandleaders to learn how to rock more and suck less. In Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Adam Johnson.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, I'm Dan Wright.
I recorded another podcast.
You are now a multi-title podcaster.
Potentially. My son wanted to do one for a school project, and so we did it. But I think he may have found out the thing that we all have found out, which is when you start one, it's hard to stop one. And so I might have just overextended myself yet again.
Well, it'll be a family project.
There you go. It's quality time, as they say.
I usually, and musicians know what I'm talking about here. When I overextend myself, usually it's things that make my family wish that I hadn't. But if it's a family project, maybe it's a different deal.
Could be.
So there you go.
So how was your week gone?
My week's gone fine. I did not do my Wednesday trivia just because I was feeling a little post-COVID throat vocally. We did a rehearsal last Sunday with the full band, the new band, and it was rough. I got through, but it was rough. So I just said, give me another week, and so we'll start that back up next week. And that was what I've done. I am prepping for the next one of those. The theme is going to be TV themes, which means a lot of music that I don't know, and I need to. Not that any of it's all that complicated for the most part. The problem is normally I prep like 30 to 40 songs, and I'm playing the first verse and chorus of them.
Right.
But each one of these is like 10 seconds long.
Yeah.
So to fill 90 minutes of game, I either need to tell a lot of stories and be very entertaining between them, or like prepare a whole lot of them. So I'm on the horns of that. But I am. It's interesting. TV themes used to be real descriptive. They used to be filled with lyrics that told you what the show was. Gilligan's Island laid the whole thing out.
He's a guy and she's a girl, and they live together in a house on the hill.
Except he's really a werewolf and she's a ghost, and yeah, that kind of thing. And then
they both work in a dynamite factory.
That's right.
I want to watch this show.
I know. We're going to call it, maybe not. And then they turned into theme songs like Different Strokes and Family Matters that were like some kind of sentimental song that might have been thematically similar to the show but didn't literally lay out the premise. And then there hasn't been a song that has, I mean, the only one that has like, here's what the show is lyrics anymore is Adventure Time is the most recent one I can think of that does that. But so I have learned
30 Rock, yeah.
I laid out the a couple of them that are just instrumentals. The guitar intro to Better Call Saul is very nice. Yeah. And a few other things that are kind of
Sanford and Sons, is that on the list?
Sanford and Sons is on the list. I'm also doing maybe my favorite TV intro tune is to What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good.
That's gonna be a hard one for people to pick up, though.
I don't know. We'll see. The audiences they've been nerdy, and then there'll be somewhere I'll go. I'll go, and it'll be over. They'll have it right.
Well, yeah.
But some of them will be a challenge. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Is Family Matters on that one?
I have it. I need to go back and listen to it because it's been probably 20 years since I heard the intro to Family Matters.
There's that little kind of interstitial bridge part. Well, then there must be some magic clue inside these tears. Whoa. Like that's like the moneymaker on that one.
I trust you. It's just been a really long time. I don't have it in my.
It's all I see is a tower of dreams. Real love busting out of every scene.
Yeah.
As days go by.
Yeah,
anyway.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
I'm working up King of the Hill, right? And a bunch of things like that. So
there were refreshments. The guys who did. The guys who did.
Oh.
So just how far down do you want to go? Same band.
Huh, all right.
The refreshments.
I can hear it. Anyway, that's what I'm prepping right now, but no gigs or anything. How about you?
So we did the mental health episode last week, and things have just been really complicated. Just in like, we've had some financial stuff come up, and I've been talking about looking for work, but because of some of the financial things, like some things we had to kind of let go of some stuff that we were doing, which kind of requires me to stay put and work out of the house.
Yep.
So that's kind of been an adjustment and just general chaos all around. I had a fever yesterday and was pretty certain that COVID had finally gotten me.
Yeah.
So I went and I got a test and I took it and it was negative and I just had a fever just cause. And then This morning it was gone, and like it was just the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
So in general, everything around me is on fire, and I'm on fire, and that's it. As far as gigs go, nothing until I think maybe end of February, beginning of March. But we have been getting a lot of inquiries, but a lot of like kind of hot-footed, like, can you do this? Never mind. Can you do this date? Never mind. So it's a little chaotic, but just trying to figure out like next moves for on a couple of things, and talking with a vocalist tomorrow about being the new me.
Cool.
So
very good.
That could be something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's it.
All right. Well, we had some listener mail we wanted to talk from today, didn't we?
Yeah. So this is the basic kind of thrust of the episode. I was trying to think if there's anything else that has popped up.
Because we are at minute 6 here, so it'd be a total breakthrough to be talking about our main topic this early in the episode.
Yeah. So I do have a gear thing,
Right.
and there's been a couple of announcements. So like NAMM isn't happening until the summer, but there's still some announcements that have been kind of coming out. Fender dropped a bunch of stuff. If you haven't checked out their latest offerings, the couple that jumped out at me is they're releasing a new color of the EVH 5150 guitars,
all right,
which are more of like the super strat versions that are with like the more modern appointments. And they have it in this like purple quilted burst situation that's like really, really nice looking. And then some cool Charvels and a couple of the Gretsch Streamliners have been announced, and those all look really neat. And the other thing was I think I may have talked about it last week, but I bought this iOS interface, the IK Multimedia iRig Stream, initially to do TikTok videos. But since I bought it, I have found myriad uses for it. One of them being I'm actually recording this podcast completely on my phone.
It's awesome.
Using the existing signal chain that I was using before, but like it's going into the phone directly. So my computer's just sitting here, just chilling.
Anybody who has not been around since we last talked about our signal chain and process for actually getting this thing recorded, Adam and I are talking right now over Zoom. So we're looking at each other in the face, which even though we don't put out live video anymore, still we think lends a lot to our ability to have banter and repartee and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure.
You look through the phone a whole bunch better than you have through your webcams. Like it's a crisper photo quality for sure.
Well, this is it's a 4K camera on the front of the 13 Pro.
Yep.
So
Yep. And the audio's excellent. So yeah, I think overall it's an upgrade.
Well, the other cool thing about it is that now when I am recording videos, so like the other thing that the iPhone 13 does is it's got that cinematic mode where it does the super shallow depth of field, and it's adjustable like after the fact. But I couldn't use it because I had to record the audio separate, and the audio tracks wouldn't always line up, and it was like a whole thing. And it was kind of like I had to sacrifice one for the other. Well, this fixes that.
Right.
And so the video that is going out on the YouTube channel tomorrow is actually about this interface, and I shot it using the interface.
Very good.
So very excited for $99. It's a complete slam dunk. And I don't know when it was going to be released because, like I said, I had a very interesting day today with emergency doctor visits and picking kids up from school and that kind of thing. But it'll be out on Friday because we say we release on Friday. Didn't say when on Friday. It'll be out sometime on Friday.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, I feel like we've suitably shot the proverbial shoot. So
we've burned our time here at the beginning. We've sufficiently blabbed, and now it's time to talk.
Yep. So this is an email that came in it was about 4 days ago, and it's from another Adam. I know that we're just so enamored with all of the Adams, but this is Adam from a band called Belding, the 90s band.
Nice.
Hey guys, love the podcast. Thank you for all the practical advice and encouragement. Apologies if you've already covered this topic, which we haven't. But I wondered if you have any thoughts regarding converting one-time bar patrons into repeat audience members. We feel like we put on a good show. We get great engagement and participation from people during the performance, but it rarely converts to new followers on socials or people seeking us out the next time we're in the area. Any tips on how to incentivize people to take that small extra step of following us on socials during the show? We plug the website and social channels throughout the set and have considered giving small prizes to anyone who tags us in a photo or video. His question is, does that seem a little desperate? We can hop on that in just a second. We'd love to hear this topic covered on the podcast, or feel free to respond directly. Thanks, Adam from Belding, the 90s band. And they're up in, I think they're in New York, NYC metropolitan area.
Great.
So the first thing that we say, like giving out prizes for people who tag you in photos and stuff, is that desperate? No, it's not at all. And because I wanted to make sure I really understood what he was saying, I was like, if you could boil down what it is you want from the people at your gigs, is the motivation to gain more social followers for visibility, or repeat customers for your upcoming shows? And he says, ultimately, it's the latter, more repeat audience members, but hoping for more social followers in service of that goal. So they can stay informed of things that we've got going on. So the question for this week, and I guess we could put this as the title of the episode, which is how to convert bar patrons into fans.
Yeah.
So, Dan, you are definitely in this market a lot more than I am. What are your thoughts on good practices in order to get people engaged, specifically on your socials, and to get them out to future events?
Right. We actually, in my previous project, we had some practices that evolved, and then we realized they were working, and we started to experiment with them, and we did sort of develop a process around this that became pretty darn reliable. So the first thing is, you want to give up the notion that social follower equals they know where you are.
Yep.
Right? Because Facebook's not going to send them your messages. You can set that all aside. That's not a thing anymore. The way that you get people to engage with your schedule on your terms is you put them on your email list. So you need to have an email list. The email list is guaranteed to get to them, and the ones who are, interested in you because of things we'll talk about in a second, that will reliably land on them, and they will know where to show up because they care about you. You posting an event in Facebook, it's crapshoot. The people who even super into you, had a great time last time, totally excited to see you again, there's no guarantee Facebook's going to let them see that you're ever playing again. So that's not the way in. The way in is email list. Now, you've got some ways to have people sign up for an email list. Here's what I do. I have an email list on MailChimp. I have a funnel page that all it does is have a form on it that people can sign up for the mailing list. The domain for that is giftfromdan.com, which it blew my mind that was available, but giftfromdan.com. And so at some point in the show, I make it a thing, and I say, listen, we've reached the point in the show, the really important thing that needs to happen right now is you need to take out your phone. And I'll give them a second to do that. And I'll look at them till they do that. Yeah. And I'll tell them to go to giftfromdan.com. And at some point, some number of them will hold up their phone to show me my picture on their phone. And I'll tell them, this is how you sign up. This is how you find out about me. They do that. And when I've gotten better at remembering to do that at shows, there were several that went by that I smacked my head at the end of the night. But pretty reliably, when I do that, I pick up a third to half of the room signing up on my mailing list. So depending on the size of the room, that could be really, really great. So that's the getting people connected with the news of you playing. Now, getting them to care, that's something else. And here's what we found really worked is you got to leverage the fact that as the people who are in the band, taking a break, walking around the room, or at the end of the night, you are, for a short period of time, the coolest humans on the planet. Because you just came off stage being a rock star. And so as you played the show, you were probably aware that there were certain people who were into it. Like, they seemed really into it. They seemed like they were into you. They dug what you were doing. Particularly, in my mind, we've had a lot of success just like making a point of going over and saying, hey, you guys are awesome. Thanks so much for that. It was so much fun. It was really great. One time, I don't know why it came out of my mouth, but we were playing a private party for an apartment complex. It's like a residential community having an event. Yeah. And there was a young couple standing at a table, and they were, I don't know, there was a lot happening at this party. We were playing music in the corner. We were among the attractions of the night. We were not sort of owning the space.
Yes.
But there was this young couple who was at a table and paying very close attention to us and clearly enjoying the show. And at some point at the break, I came over and I gave them a card and I said, hey, you guys are great. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We do weddings, by the way, just saying, and walked away. And as I walked away, I was like, wow, that might have been too much of a thing to say. A year later, having had them be at almost every show the band played after that, They came to everything. They did ask us to play their wedding. So
there you go.
You know, sometimes you take a flyer and sometimes it works out. But the point is it is about, in my experience, it's about personal connection. It's about letting them have some of you. Listen, we actually, for a while, we had just kind of a casual practice that some number of us would go out to dinner after a show. Say if it ended at 10, we'd go hit the diner and get some pancakes or something. And
yeah,
we all kind of agreed that, like, if we were connecting with a new audience member who was into us and people like who, and we'd limit it to just a couple, but we'd invite them along. We'd take them to dinner. And if they seem cool, if they seem like our kind of people, we're not going to like open the floodgates. But I will tell you, the people who ended up at dinner with us after a show, they came to more shows. They were not going to miss us again because we were theirs.
Well, yeah,
we were theirs. We were their buddies now. We weren't some band they liked. They knew us personally, and I think that connection really is the meat and potatoes of turning bar patrons who caught you incidentally into people who are following you. For me, it's all about that personal connection. That really only happens. It happens some on mic, but on mic you're broadcasting.
Yeah.
Right. Versus at break and at the end of the night, you can have it be personal, and that's really where the difference gets made. That was certainly our experience. And that's the answer up to a certain level of scale. Beyond that, we got to talk to Mike Schulte about how to create fans in the thousands. That's a whole other discipline. I'm talking about one by one, right?
Yeah. You raise a good point, because like when you're talking about the Mike Schultes of the world, like they had built a following based on, one, that their band is really, really good.
Right.
But also because they are very good at maintaining a social media presence.
That's right. Yeah. At that level, social media really.
Exactly. So there's kind of, it's two different skill sets, really.
Yes.
And the personal touch that you're talking about is very much a people in the room, getting them connected and moving them forward. I don't know if social media followers equate to those necessarily.
Right.
But if you want people to follow you on social media, you need to prioritize the quality of the content that you're posting.
That's right. That's for sure.
So as far as we'll use Belding, the band, the 90s band, as an example. I went onto their Instagram page, and it's fairly new, and their posts are pretty consistent, and it is a certain type of post that I think a lot of bands do, where it's a ton of, here's a picture of us playing, we're playing here next. Here's a picture of us playing, we're playing here next. So it's really just advertising. And we have learned over countless conversations and episodes that people don't want to engage with brands or companies. They want to engage with people.
Right.
And if your social media doesn't have any sort of like solid personality behind it, you're going to have a hard time bringing people into that realm.
Yep.
So I don't know if you necessarily need to prioritize one over the other, but if you are, work on the people in the room, because that's definitely something that is easily actionable. It's something that you can kind of develop over time. I had suggested is the QR iPhone smartphone lock screen deal, where you go, thank you guys so much. You guys have been wonderful. Please come say hey to us after the show. If you want to find out what we've got going on, come see me. You can take a picture of this thing, and it'll tell you all the things you need to know. And then if you go out into the audience and you do exactly that, it is very effective.
Yeah.
And it is kind of like a way of kind of splitting the difference there, doing the personal engagement, and it's pushing them to the online things.
And it certainly scales better than taking them to dinner.
It does.
Yeah.
Now, another thing that is kind of a cool idea, and I've seen other groups do this, is the like buying the virtual gift card and then posting, like, let's say, hey, have a coffee on us. And somebody in the band bought like a $50 to $100 Starbucks card. And you just post the QR code on your Instagram page, say, have a coffee on us, and write the balance in under the comments. And so then people go and they use that. And the cool thing about that is that because you're asking people to comment when they update the balance, it increases the engagement of the post,
Smart.
which increases the visibility of the post, which then sends it to more people.
Yeah.
So people talk a lot about targeted ads and effectively spending your money. In that case, you could take $50 and like get a lot of mileage out of it.
Yeah, that's really smart.
Or maybe you just have like a single dickhead who spends $50 at Starbucks and
never comments.
Yep.
That could happen too. But
you got to be willing to do it. Life's a gamble, man.
That's the risk of it.
Life is a gamble.
Yeah.
Do you have any other thoughts around this? Like whether like if you were a group that's kind of you've already got the stage show figured out, you're kind of out there and you're doing it. What other things can you think about in order to kind of push that engagement, push the ask? Like what other things could we do besides the stuff that we've already talked about?
I think there are ways that the stage show can foster an experience of connection for the audience. One is, I mean, when we worked on wireless mics and we would go out into the audience and engage with people in the middle of songs, and if somebody's drunk and singing loud, put the mic in front of their face. Don't hand them the mic,
pre-COVID.
But put it in front of their face. Pre-COVID, for sure. Yeah, these days. I don't want to think hard about that. But there is a lot of, it all comes down to making yourself available. Remember that you are the rock star. People want to engage with you, and some of them who want to won't. They'll stop themselves. They'll respect your space, which thank you, right? Appreciate it.
Yeah. But
if I'm interested in making that connection, then it's mine to make, and I can just walk up and do it.
Yeah.
As an extrovert, that's easy to say, I know, but it is the thing that's gotten us that traction. The other thing I think is that your show should always have, so in terms of the stage shows worked out or whatever, your show needs to have surprises in it. People come back for surprises, right? There was a period with the Clinky Lincolns where we realized we played essentially the same set list for 6 months, and we were starting to get bored with it. And the people who came back and came to all the shows for 6 months, I mean, we were playing a once a month gig at a place, and there was 20 of the same 50 people were at all of those,
right,
and a bunch of others. And at some point I started to feel bad for them, because like they've heard the same dance medley every time, and they like it, they hang it, they're here for it, but you got to keep it fresh, and you really got to, once you're committed to having return visitors, you got to make it worth the return visitors' while.
Yeah. It's a great point.
So, or they won't return anymore. They'll be like, variety is the spice of life. And like, all right, so that night I can go see that band that is going to do, I know they're going to do the same thing again that I've seen 8 times. And I like it, but there's this other thing going on. I haven't seen that before.
Yeah.
Right. But if you can keep it fresh, if you can keep new things happening. We had a rap battle set piece that was built into our show, and we rotated that every show. And part of the fun of it was nobody knew what you were going to throw down. Like, you just start something and the whole band would react and everybody would have like a moment. One night I pulled out "Thank You for Being a Friend," speaking of TV themes, and it brought the place down. Right. So there's constant work to do to keep. There's not just, I guess what I want to say is there's not just getting those people, there's keeping them. Yeah.
So yeah, there's a retention component.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are, I think that's a really great point. The main thing is you've got to be willing to put yourself out there and connect, like really go out of your way.
Yep.
And you can do that through the stage banter, but really like the rubber meets the road when you are talking with people and like showing them that you care.
Yeah.
We had talked about that Venkman show that was not bad, but was not as good as we normally, as far as turnout goes. There was a gal there who comes to pretty much all of our shows and had not been to one of our shows in 2 years because we hadn't played a public show in that long. And she got to see a show that had a bunch of new stuff. It had a lot of new components, and like she was visibly thrilled at the fact that things were so different. And I made sure that when we wrapped up, I went directly over to her and I said, "Thank you for being here," because I knew that she had gone out of her way to show up.
Yeah.
And I was joking about this with Nathan, our drummer. I was like, none of our friends showed up. And he kind of laughed, and I was like, but like that's cool. Like people who wanted to see us came.
Yeah.
It wasn't our friends.
Yeah.
And that's
it's cool.
Honestly, it's cool. Cooler.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but we did actually get, we are booked there in April. They were like very motivated to, like I said, somebody threw up. So, I mean, they were having a good time.
So, you know, it's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going to be back there in April. So
good
stuff. Well, Adam from Belding in the 90s Band, I hope that was helpful information. If you have any further questions, or if you wanted to like do like a deeper dive, we could talk about maybe doing like a coaching thing. Maybe we could do that as an episode on the house, just to get you guys up and running. If it's something you're interested in, just hit us up and let us know. Any parting words?
Connect. Just connect. Just always connect.
Do it. Try your best to connect. Well, folks, thanks so much for tuning in. That was a great question. It's a great question. You guys definitely provide the best content topics for us. Sometimes left to our own devices.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we're in the vacuum.
On a Thursday night, we'll get together and like, what are we talking about tonight? Oh, I don't know, man.
But this one came in like hot on a Monday, and I was like, yes. Exactly
time to plan it, time to think about it. Yeah, it's perfect.
Yep. So thanks for tuning in. So many things for you to do. One thing I did want to say for any of you who listen to us on Spotify, those numbers keep growing. Like I checked the split from like Apple Podcasts was like our number one, but like Spotify is like coming up with a bullet.
Yeah.
Like that split is getting shorter and shorter.
Look out, Joe Rogan.
Yeah. If you listen to us on Spotify, you can now leave reviews. If you could leave us a 5-star review, that'd be super helpful. Helps build visibility. And the same goes for the rest of you. If you haven't already, give us a 5-star review. Write something nice. We love to read those on an episode if they come in. So feel free to do that.
And feel free to plug yourself. We will say your name and your band name if you include that in your comments. So please,
100%.
Do not be shy.
We will absolutely promote your stuff. Otherwise, I hope everybody has a good week. I hope you have a better week than the week that I had, if nothing else.
I hope you have a better week than the week that you had.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
I could really use it. Otherwise, take care, guys. Have a fantastic week. And if you're playing, have fun.
Yeah.
Can't wait to join you. But for now, in Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Adam Johnson.
In Greensboro, North Carolina, I'm Dan Ray.
You've been listening to the Cover Band Confidential podcast for the week of January 28th, 2022. Have an awesome week.